the drama of the moment. This is TNT Sports, home of NASCAR's race for the championship. This is the Discover Card Countdown to Green as we get ready to go racing.
Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. NASCAR has been coming here since 1950. The Southern 500 earned its stripes for 3 reasons: where it's at, who has won it, and who has not. 1 week ago, it was a good old-fashioned Saturday night short track race. Today, we once again return to the roots of NASCAR. After the sunset last Saturday, the tradition and the temper of Bristol shine bright. Here comes Gordon, right up against the back bumper. Everybody in the crowd on their feet. The bump and run. There it is. Gordon underneath to the lead. Today, the Winston Cup Series renews a tradition as old as the sport itself, the Southern 500. A true racer knows the history of Darlington. Those that don't, learn fast. The next step for the championship challengers is find a way to tame a track that has brought racers more than 50 years of fame and frustration. Veteran drivers have visions of victory here. Younger drivers simply have dreams. Tonight, when the sun sets on Darlington, only one driver will be enjoying a little Southern comfort.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot of time!
TNT Sports presents the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Today, live from Darlington, South Carolina, it's the 53rd running of the Mountain Dew Southern 500. Darlington Raceway, a gray but gritty old biddy. She rewards the graceful and will punish the greedy. They call this the track too tough to tame. How tough is it? The King Richard Petty won 200 races, but only won the Southern 500 once. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Southern 500. I'm Bill Weber, and I know you want to hear about the weather. Well, it has rained here most of the morning. It stopped about 11 o'clock, then it started again about a half an hour ago. I'm not going to kid you. I am no meteorologist, but after these showers that are currently over the track move through, which hopefully won't take very long, there is an area of clear, dry weather that should allow us to run the Southern 500 today. We're all very hopeful about it. If this was golf, we would be at the Masters, an old course complete with an ancient grandstand. There's no electronic people mover here, no towering scoring pylon in the infield to let you know who's running 25th, because in the Southern 500, 25th doesn't matter. The old garage here is so crammed with cars the crews can barely move in there, and most of the fans that are here today are parked in a muddy field somewhere. That's probably just how it was 53 years ago. This was the first place where NASCAR raced on pavement, and you can make the argument if they hadn't raced here then, they might not be racing anywhere now. Qualifying was rained out on Friday. That means the starting field was set by the NASCAR rulebook, which basically is owners' points and past winners. That means the top 5 guys in points are the first 5 guys in the field. And since it's just 145 points from 1st to 5th in the standings, any one of those 5 guys could leave here as the Winston Cup point leader. Let's start with the guy that came to Darlington as the point leader. Here's Dave Burns.
And Bill, he came to Darlington having finished 7th last week at Bristol, putting distance on all the guys in the top 5 except for Gordon. Can you widen that gap just a little bit by winning here eventually today when we get started?
We'll hope so. We feel like we got a pretty good car with the Coors Light Dodge. Same car we won here with us in the spring, and it's real good on long runs yesterday, and that's what it takes here at Darlington. If you get real quick for 10 laps, really back up. But our car wasn't, that burst of speed, but it was real consistent. So that's what we're hoping for.
Now I got to ask you, we're kind of waiting out the rain here. How are you passing the time waiting out the rain here? Watching a movie, weren't you?
What?
Yeah, on TNT.
Yeah, Outlaw Josie Wells.
One of the best movies ever?
Best movies ever.
Yeah, big Clint Eastwood fan?
Yeah.
All right. Now, if Clint were going to adjust on your car today, what would be the main thing he would focus on? Certainly, it's cooler than it normally is here.
I don't know. We, the tire sheet yesterday showed us just a little bit loose, wasn't bad, but the weather's going to be cool again, so probably wouldn't adjust much. Maybe the air pressure just a little bit.
Okay, and your team only has one DNF all this year. How important was it to come away from Bristol having not crashed out the car?
Well, we was really terrible in practice, and we went to the 41 team and got there set up, and it was a total different race car. And had a good car. It was a little quicker than the leader, but it took us about 50 laps to get going. But it run good, and went to the rear one time. Jack got hung on the car and went all the way to the rear and come back up to, I guess, 8th or 10th. So had a real good car, and I was happy to get out of there. Wasn't many dents on the fenders, and wasn't mad at anybody, so it's a good day.
It was a good day. The outlaw Sterling Marlin will try to make it a sweep here at Darlington in 2002. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
And Dave, Mark Martin has gained points on Sterling Marlin in 3 of the past 4 races, but rain and the lady in black could shake things up a little bit today in that points race. Mark, how do you think this racetrack is going to change from the happy hour yesterday to where it is today?
Well, I think it'll change a lot, especially throughout the race. The start of the race, I'm not sure that any of us know exactly what to expect with it being green. But if we get to run 500 miles, man, that racetrack will be a whole different animal at the end of this thing than at the beginning.
Now, this place has such a mean reputation as a tough racetrack. You won this race back in '93. When you look back now, as you get older, does that win mean a lot more to you now than maybe it did when you won this race?
I didn't have any idea of the history of this race coming from Arkansas and not, growing up in NASCAR land. I had no idea it had any significance when I won the race. It's only been the last 3 or 4 years that I've seen how you guys torment the guys who haven't won a Southern 500.
Rusty Wallace.
Yes, about that. So exactly. So it is a big race, and it means an awfully lot to anyone who understands the history of NASCAR. It is a really tough racetrack, and it's one of those that you can have everything going your way and have a fraction of a second mental lapse, and your chances are over.
Now, all summer long, you've had a little bit more of a bounce in your step, and you've had some pressure on you to win your first Winston Cup championship because the little guy, Matty here, second in the summer shootout points. Now, you've had a great year. Are you putting pressure on Dad to get that first Winston Cup championship, Matty?
You bet.
You bet. Hey, how about your season? You had a great year, didn't you?
Yeah, I got second in the summer shootout, and we're running 4th in national points.
Now, what's that do for you as a father? Because it just seems like your relationship has grown, and you seem like you're almost happier at the racetrack because of what he does on his racetrack.
Well, it's a lot of fun because, see, I can't be the youngest best. I can't approach that territory anymore. How exciting it was when I first started and accomplishing things that I didn't know that I could. And those are the kinds of things that, we have the opportunity to do with Matt. If he was playing baseball, I could sit in the stands and watch him play, but I couldn't tell him, anything that might help him with the game. With racing, that's a little bit different. And so I'm able to hopefully give him some advice here and there that, can really help him. And we're doing it together, and it's been a real bonding process that we've been through the last couple of years going racing together. So we're having having a lot of fun with it.
Now, Matty, the big question of the day, is he going to gain some points on Sterling Marlin and win his second Southern 500 today?
I hope so.
There you have it. He won here back in 1993, Marty, and he hopes to win here in 2002.
Well, Matt, Tony Stewart's effort to win his first ever Winston Cup championship hit, what would you call it, a road bump last week, maybe a speed bump last week, 24th at Bristol, and you had so much momentum before that. Is it critical to get that momentum back today, Tony?
Yeah, but I think this is the part of the season where we normally have gained a lot of momentum, and historically over the last 3 years, this is where we get in a stretch where we gain the most points. So I'm pretty optimistic that last week was just a hiccup in the road, and we'll be on track this week again.
You have had some tremendous success here in a very short period of time. You haven't won here yet, but even an open wheel guy coming from that world, where would a win at Darlington rank in the category for you?
Well, not only to win at Darlington, but to win the Southern 500. I mean, the history, you learn a lot watching the Speed Channel. So, being able to follow the history and see all the shows and learn the history of Darlington and, what the Southern 500 means to the stock car racing community. It's, it compares a lot to winning Indianapolis and how much that means to IndyCar racers. So, for stock car racing, the Southern 500, it's not the Daytona 500, but, the Southern 500 historically is a very, very big race. So to win today would be a big win for us.
They had a great car here in the spring, but what do you remember from the spring race?
I remember leaving this way and then this way. It wasn't exactly the way I wanted to leave the racetrack by any means.
The helicopter.
Yeah, the helicopter ride was a quick way out on the track, but I didn't want to leave that early. I wanted to leave about 2 hours after the race was over, after victory lane, hopefully.
Now, we just talked to Matt Martin, and Mark Martin's got his kid there, but you guys were having a little horseplay here with your coach driver, Jeff Patterson. Now, that was not nice what he did to you.
Yeah, Matt is Mark's son, and Gooch is my son, so...
Except he's a little older.
He's a lot older and a lot bigger, too. So, no, it's fun. I mean, I've known Gooch for, I guess, since '96 when I started with Harry Ranier. And, just like anybody else that works for us, they've been, almost family for years. I mean, really good friends. So we're just horsing around. We don't have much to do down here today but watch it rain and hang out with our buddy Marty Rowe from Diamond Rio, who's here with us today.
I'm glad that doesn't hurt when he picks you up like that. That's good.
Just don't make me do that to you.
I will make you do that to me. The good thing about the rain out for Tony Stewart, Bill, he's got his best ever Darlington start. He will start 4th today.
Okay, Marty, thanks a lot. The final third of the Winston Cup season begins today with Ricky Rudd 7th in points. As we told you last week, Ricky knows where his future is at. He has signed a contract to drive for the Wood brothers beginning in 2003. Ricky has 23 career wins. That's 24th on the all-time list. And most of them have come with some of NASCAR's top teams.
Well, there's a road in a distant line, and the eagle flies with the night. And if you can't be with the one you love, not the one you're with, not the one you're with, not the one you're with, not the one you're with.
And we're joined on the wagon by Ricky Rudd, starting 7th today when they go. When it does go green here, your thoughts on today's race?
Well, the Southern 500, it's a tricky old racetrack at Darlington. It always has been, and we haven't been fortunate enough to be able to win this thing. We've had some good runs here. We've won the spring race, but doesn't seem to quite carry the power or the press that comes with winning the Southern 500. So we've got our work cut out for us.
So Mark Martin said I should torment you since you haven't won the Southern 500. This is one that all you guys really want because of the history and the guys who have gone to victory lane in this race.
Well, I'm fair game, I guess, if you want to pick on somebody, like say that we do have one thing going. We have won the spring race.
That's right.
So maybe we can learn from that. That's been a few years back. But, again, it's a big race. It carries a lot of prestige with it. And, this day and time, any race that you can win carries a lot of prestige. It means a lot. It means a lot to the sponsors, Haviland, any race that you can win for these guys, it means a lot.
2003 to the Wood brothers.
Yeah, real excited about that, Bill. Just a super bunch of guys. I've known them, all my racing career. I've known them. I've looked up to them, and I remember the days when David Pearson drove for them and won so many races for them. And they've had some good things since then happen to them. They won, I guess, at Bristol last year with Elliott Sadler,
right.
And it's a team that I feel real comfortable with. That I feel at home with, and I like what they're doing. The sponsorships, Motorcraft has stepped up and gave them some support, extra support. Ford Motor Company's pledged a lot of wind tunnel time. So, it's a team that's sort of in a rebuilding process, and I feel like I can help them a little bit and do my part to help get them back up where they deserve.
7th in points, 268 out of the lead. Took a hit last week at Bristol.
Well, we really did. We had an engine failure last week at Bristol, which is rare for the Yates organization, and we were running right where we needed to be. We're right in the top 10, and had a good chance to improve on that. I felt like we had a top 3 car. We sort of like to wait till about lap 350 to really get serious and really go after it. And we just didn't get to lap 350. We got to about the halfway point and the motor let go. So those are the things that kill us. We took a 100-point hit last week. We were 6th going into Bristol. We came out, luckily only lost 1 position. We're back to 7th. But, that lead is sort of slipping away. We're 268 or so out of the lead. And it can change very quickly. We're not out of it, but we can't afford any more DNFs.
You know as well as I do, there have been a number of stories about what's gone on with you and Robert Yates Racing. There seems to be some concern, Ricky, among the fans as to whether or not you guys can hold it together for the final 12 races.
Well, I think if you go back and look at the results, unfortunately, they don't speak too highly what's been going on the last 3 or 4 weeks. Performance has not been there like it needs to be. Engine failure, which is rare for us. So there's a lot of things that I don't know if you can blame it on things going to be quite a bit different next year.
Right.
Certainly we don't hope so. I think everybody's given 120%. But, again, there's things that I can't control. All I can do is go out there and run 120% every weekend. And anybody that knows me, I'm not a quitter. It doesn't matter if I'm changing teams or not. I'm not a quitter. I don't give up. I don't think this team has let up, but we certainly can't afford any engine failures, and the team has got to perform, and everybody else is stepping the program up. We certainly can't take a step back.
And next week you defend at Richmond, right?
Yeah, Richmond was a good place for us last year. It was a pretty exciting race right there, and we did have a good test at Richmond about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so we're looking forward to going back, hometown state, and picking up where we left off at the last time we were there at the night race.
Terrific. Thanks for coming up here, and hope you get a Southern 500 so I don't have to torment you anymore.
Thank you, Bill.
Ricky Rudd starts 7th today. They are starting to dry the track here at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. They had 5 get dryers yesterday, 7 today.